Hey everyone, I wanted to discuss charcoal mellowing on this video. So I did a review yesterday of Ezra Brooks' Distiller's Collection, and I noted that it says it's charcoal mellowed, which is, to me, more unusual in a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey than in a Tennessee whiskey, because Tennessee whiskey, in order to be a Tennessee whiskey, amongst other requirements, has to go through what they call the Lincoln County process, which is charcoal mellowing. But there's a distinction, two different types. With Ezra Brooks, this charcoal mellowing is done after when it comes out of the barrel before it goes in the bottle. So it comes out of the barrel, it's put through a charcoal mellowing process. With the Lincoln County process specifically, let's just use the Jack Daniel's Old Number 7. The Lincoln County process is prior to being put in the barrel. So once it's distilled, it's put through these vats of sugar maple, and that's the key word, sugar maple charcoal, and it's put through that charcoal mellowing process, and then it's barreled. Now, I thought it might be interesting to, even though these are two different proofs and two different states, the Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection, which is, I think you said it was, 107 proof. And I had a little bit left of my Jack Daniel's Gentleman Jack, which I reviewed the other week. And this is, to me at this point, a pretty weak 80 proof. So it's not a comparison which is better. I know which one's better. I mean, I love Jack Daniel's, and I love the single barrel and the bonded. This was not my favorite. I thought this was a little too mellow, and I'll explain why in a second. So this is certainly my favorite of the two, but I want to kind of explore the charcoal mellowing process in terms of what's different and also how it affects the taste. With Gentleman Jack, the difference here is it's twice mellowed. So basically, it goes through two processes. The first process is the typical Lincoln County process prior to being put in the barrel. The second mellowing is when it comes out of the barrel. So that second mellowing is kind of similar to what Ezra Brooks goes through, because that's done after it comes out of the barrel, before it goes in the bottle. And that second mellowing is done after the barrel. So that's the only difference with this one. Typically, the Lincoln County process is prior to being put in the barrel, but this goes through that second mellowing. So this is twice mellowed. This is mellowed once, and I'm just saying that the second mellowing of this is done similar times. But the process with this has to be sugar maple. This is other types of charcoal mellowing, and I just want to see what flavor that puts into. So that being said, let's start with I'm going to start with the Gentleman Jack, and this really is more focused on me detecting the charcoal in it, and if that's different. So I think this is going to be more about taste. Cheers. So that's a pretty rich. I think it's actually a little better than the last time I had it. You definitely detect a full charcoal mellow. It's very mellow. I just find 80 proof at this point in my whiskey journey a little bit weak, because I'm used to drinking higher proof stuff. But you definitely, it's a very, I mean, this is, as I said when I reviewed it, it's a very easy, entry level, people who are just starting out. It's very easy drinking. I just think with two mellowings out, twice mellow, I think it as I said when I reviewed it, kind of takes a little bit of takes a little something out of it. I think it mellows it too much. But one more time. But you can fully taste that sugar maple charcoal comes right out, being double mellowed. So it's really, I mean, nothing bad on this, and I love the flavor. But to me, it's just a little, I don't want to say bland, but that's the best word I have from being mellowed twice. So now we have the one I just reviewed, and I want to see how I detect different your classic Jack Daniel's charcoal mellowing, this was twice, to the charcoal mellowing that was done in a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Cheers. Well, I mean, aside from that, you just notice the proof being different. But when I did the review, I know my first reaction was on the Ezra Brooks that, man, that's like, a burst of cinnamon, almost like cinnamon candy. And that's the case. But now when I taste it again, yeah, there was cinnamon. But you know what? Behind that, and maybe part of that, was actually the charcoal flavor that sometimes you pick things up more when you go into it more. So there is definitely a flavor, and if you really pay attention, that the charcoal mellowing puts in parts on the whiskey, and I certainly taste that here. So it's kind of like cinnamon with the charcoal mellowing, and it's just a lot of sweet. But that was pretty much the point of this. Is when you say charcoal meld, Lincoln County process, it's not always the same thing. But the key thing that is the same is both of these whiskeys are the flavor in the whiskey is affected by going through a charcoal mellowing process. This one, I think, a little too much, also a little too weak. Obviously, this one is certainly an easy favorite between the two. This may be better reviewing something like this with more similar proofs, and a little more. This is a little light, but the purpose was charcoal mellowing, and they both definitely had that. So that's it for today. Thank you. Take care.